New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams. Your dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick of Time Show. Here giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And it's time to talk to the GOAT. Before we introduce the GOAT, because you already know where it is, let me introduce my guys. First and foremost, you know what this is. It's the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G's in the building. It's a big day for the KOT show tonight, having Ian on the show. I'm excited to be here. Let's talk Knicks basketball.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Also, you know how I like to call this guy? I call him the raw metaphor. It is the raw Hebrew remnant. What's going on, Raw?
What's up, y'all? I'm very excited to have Mr. Begley among us, what I call one of the three wise men.
Yes.
Ian is flowing into the house.
Exactly. Hurricane Ian is in the building, straight from Florida. Let's get it. All right. Now, this is the rookie of the KOT squad. My man from Posting and Toasting, Deadspin. My man, Lee, the Latin assassin. What's going on? What's Lee?
What's up, y'all? Representing Dallas, Texas with Ian Begley, the only reporter my dad trusts. Glad to be here.
Oh,
Exactly.
wow. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you already know what this is, man. This is the GOAT of NY Media, kicking it with the KOT show. My man, Ian Begley. What's going on, Ian? Welcome to the show.
Hey, fellas, thank you for having me. First of all, it's great to be with you guys, man. I appreciate the kind words, and yeah, looking forward to seeing how things play out this season. So let's get right to it. Let's talk some Knicks.
Yeah, let's get to it. And I'm gonna let you know, Ian, listen, it's you and Woj. I believe anything you say, anything you put out there, I believe you. If you say, yo, Jay Ellis, that father's not your father, I'm gonna believe you. I'm not gonna even call my mom. I'm not gonna check sources. You are the source, all right? So whatever you say goes. That is it. Everybody in Knicks Nation knows this, and it's time somebody told you, all right?
Hey, man, I really, really appreciate that. I'll never get into the paternity test, but I do.
So what you're saying, there's no Maury show coming for you in the future.
No Maury show, no Maury show.
That jokes.
But I try to be cautious with what I say and write, and so that means a lot to me, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you do your diligence for sure, for sure. So let me get to this, man. There's one question I have to start out with, and it just bugged me personally. This is why I'm asking you. All right. Was Quentin Grimes really untouchable in the Donovan Mitchell trade? I will not mention Donovan Mitchell ever again after this, but was he untouchable?
Yeah, I can't tell you yes or no, like definitively, because I don't know that for sure. But, you know, I know that there were several packages that the Knicks had offered Utah that didn't include RJ Barrett, that included 3 firsts and several young players, and they felt that those offers were equal to or better than what Cleveland had offered to get the deal done. And so I would assume that Grimes was in there, right? Because because if RJ is on the table, why wouldn't Quentin Grimes be on the table in some packages? Now I know Tom Thibodeau really values Grimes, thinks highly of him. I know a lot of people in the organization do, but I can't see during these whole discussions over several months, whatever it was, Quentin Grimes being totally off the table. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It just doesn't make logical sense. In my brain, I was thinking they wouldn't include both Grimes and RJ in a package together. So when I saw that report, that's where my brain really went, because we need depth at that position. So, right. I mean, that's why I went. But I just want to get that out the way. All right. No more Donovan Mitchell, I promise you guys.
No more Donovan talk?
No more. That's dead. He's in the Cavs.
Maybe 3 years from now, we'll start talking about him again.
Oh, he's definitely coming up. Trust me. Him, Shy. I know Raul was talking about having LaMelo come here. Like, This
I'm saying, Ian, 2 years from now, there'll be a bunch of guys available that we don't know about yet. And that's when the Knicks will have an opportunity to strike.
I think so.
There's always players that we're not even talking about right now that end up becoming available for whatever reason. So it's, that's the NBA. That's no matter what happens, who wins, who loses, there's always going to be either a player that wants out or a team that's ready to move on from a player. And again, a name that we're probably not even discussing right now will be on the radar, let's say as late as this coming off season. So that's just the nature of the league.
Yeah, that's just the nature. It looks like we lost Ryan G. He's having computer problems once again, but the show must go on. So let's get to it. All right. So Ian, the front office, right? I'm not exactly sure if the front office and Tibbs are exactly aligned. I know they brought in Cam Reddish last season. He was relegated to the bench. He really didn't get off the bench until injuries occurred to Quentin Grimes, and benching Evan Fournier wasn't even a thought. So my question to you is, are the front office and Tom Thibodeau aligned, or do you feel like there could be like some tension on which direction to go with this team?
Yeah, I think that for me, I kind of look at it as a blank slate entering the season because, I don't know what conversations have been had recently. I know that, last year you talk about the Reddish trade and people around the league looked at that and wondered what you're wondering. Is everybody on the same page? And I think that was, a point of dissension between some in the front office and head coach Tom Thibodeau. The idea that you're trading Kevin Knox and a first round pick protected to get Cam Reddish and you're not playing him right away. That was a point of contention then. And I think over the course of the season, now, again, I don't know, maybe everybody is fully on the same page. It's the preseason. Everybody's 0-0. So I don't want to say right now what the situation is without really knowing. But I do know last year, yeah, there were issues where not everybody was feeling the same way about certain players. It led to some, I think, upset feelings. Where are they today? I don't know. We'll see if there's a losing streak. We'll see if everybody's in the same direction, or if you start to hear, hey, front office is upset at XYZ.
Yeah.
Thibodeau's upset at XYZ. That's when we'll start to learn about where they are now. I do think, though, Cam Reddish, if he's healthy, is a kind of bellwether for where things stand between Thibodeau and the front office because of what we just mentioned earlier. And so if Cam Reddish is healthy, I think Tom Thibodeau, he can lose games with Cam Reddish in the rotation if he's healthy, but he can't lose games with a healthy Cam Reddish out of the rotation. I think that's where you're going to see problems. So that's just one overarching thing that I'm keeping an eye on.
Ian, was there a specific front office member that was really particular about acquiring Cam Reddish? Was there one voice above the others that really targeted him and was interested in him?
I don't know. I know that Leon Rose said this in his MSG Network interview a couple weeks ago with Alan Hahn. So I'm not breaking any new ground here, but he's the guy that ultimately signs off on things. I know that there were moves that I think Tom Thibodeau had been in favor of doing over the past couple of years that ultimately didn't happen. There were moves that people in the front office really wanted to get done that didn't happen. And so I don't think there's one person that Leon Rose is listening to. Ultimately, as he said, it stops with him. So he obviously was in favor of acquiring Reddish at that point for the price. So you can put his name on that list. As far as others individually, I'm not sure. I would assume William Wesley was on board. I believe that William Wesley was a fan of Reddish then. So I would guess that he was on board, but it's hard for me to say like specifically who was fully in, who wasn't fully in back then.
That's crazy because I was saying last season or beginning of this season that I feel like if we lose with the young guys, I feel like his job would be safer than if he lost with the old guys, which kind of leans into my next question, job security. What type of leash is Tom on this season? Do you feel like if we do get off to a slow start, it'll be a short leash? And also, do you feel like a guy like Johnny Bryant will be next in line and, be able to take over if that ever does happen?
Yeah, I think that it'll be a shorter leash. I'm not sure how exactly to define it, but I think you'll know, right? Like if the team is early on in the season not looking like it's tied together, not competing, particularly on the defensive end, and guys are kind of hanging their heads, and the Knicks are getting beaten by big margins early on, you're gonna know. You're gonna know that it's not working, and I think management is then going to be faced with a tough decision because last year when the Knicks had a really tough stretch going into the All-Star break, I was told that ownership, Jim Dolan, told Leon Rose, "This is your decision. You have the leeway to make a call on Tom Thibodeau or to not make a call." Leon Rose decided to stick with Tom Thibodeau. So now you're going into this next season where I think, because of so many different factors, including those, you have to show improvement off the bat. So I'm saying,
Absolutely.
I think first 25 games, we were talking about Christmas, that's a place where you have to show that, hey, we're building here. We're progressing towards a solid season and something that we're going to be able to show you at the end of the year. We took a step forward. If you're not seeing those things, I think management is going to have to make a tough call. And if that call ends up being sticking with Tom Thibodeau, which, hey, I think that it's unfair to put everything on the head coach. I think if things go sideways, I think everybody should be held accountable.
Absolutely.
But if they ended up sticking with Tom Thibodeau, then I think everybody is kind of on high alert going through the rest of that season. But let's see how they start out, right? Because I've seen this movie so many times that it's easier for me to see things going in a bad direction, just having covered the team for so long. Let's see how this group does. I really think Jalen Brunson, he brings a great spirit, great energy to the group, and obviously that, not even talking about what he brings to the floor for this team. So I think he'll make a very positive impact.
I agree. I like his leadership too, and I like that he has an effect on the young guys as well. Which brings me kind of to the young guys. It's Tibbs mentioned them early because you guys were kind of asking a lot of questions about the young guys, and he said that the younger guys will have a bigger role. And I know, like fans, they have invested interest in guys like Quentin Grimes, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin, and even Deuce McBride, who we mentioned earlier. So I know he mentioned young guys, but I'm sorry.
Don't forget about Quickly.
Don't forget about Quickly. You know what it is? Me, myself, I'm not worried about Quick because he led the team in 4 quarter minutes. So I know he's going to get his minutes. And I think fans feel that way too, or maybe it's just me on my Quickly hiveness. But when I talk to fans, I hear the most complaints about Obi, Grimes, and Cam specifically, and Deuce, because Raw's in the Deuce hive. Shout out to him. So I want to ask about those guys specifically. Do you think those guys will have an actual shot at a larger role here?
Quentin Grimes, certainly. Yeah, if he's healthy. And I think that the foot soreness, we've seen that it's lingered on here for several days. I think it's an issue that I think the Knicks probably want to make sure that he is not going to have to deal with moving forward. So maybe they'll be a bit more cautious with him in the preseason. But let's say he's healthy, right? I think he'll make a big push for minutes because Tom Thibodeau is a huge fan of Grimes. And, I know that there were some people with the Knicks that after they had signed Brunson, they were concerned about the defensive pairing of Fournier and Brunson in the backcourt. So I think that's why you'll see Grimes at least get a really, really wide berth to earn minutes on this team. McBride, doesn't seem like there's a clear path right now if everybody's healthy. Cam Reddish, same thing. And that to me is one of the more interesting things to keep an eye on early in the year. If he's healthy, it's hard to see an obvious way for him to get into that rotation. So I think that's the way at least I see those guys. Obi Toppin, I mean, it's the same thing as it's been the last couple of years. You have Julius Randle, who's ahead of him. So how do you create more minutes for Toppin? You either play those guys together, which I think is unlikely based on what Thibodeau's been saying about it, and the idea that they have these two centers that they've signed to long-term deals, or you cut Julius Randle's minutes, and maybe they go that route. Maybe they cut his minutes by a few minutes per game, get Obi a few more minutes. But there's not an obvious answer there without having to do something significant, whether it's cutting Randle's minutes or playing both of those guys together.
Yeah, I agree.
Ian, okay, so speaking of Randle, I want to go back to the last trade deadline, last All-Star break trade deadline. To your knowledge, and of course, you may or may not know, but if you know, you'll be right. You'll give us the right answer. But what were there teams inquiring about Julius Randle before the last trade deadline? And if there was, what was Leon Rose's asking price?
So I know that there was at least one team that had conversations with people from the Knicks about a Randle trade. They had interest. As far as the asking price, I'm not sure. I don't have that information on what specifically the Knicks had asked that team for. Maybe it didn't even get to that point, but I know a team had some talks with the Knicks, and that team felt like, it wasn't just the Knicks hung up the phone. It was like there was at least conversations to be had around Randle at that point. Now, obviously, a deal doesn't get done, right? But there was interest, and I think, listen, Julius Randle, say what you want about him, but he in the right situation, when he's right and he's in the right situation, he can really impact the game on the offensive end. We saw it a couple of years ago. So if he can raise his shooting percentages a bit, and if the Knicks win games, I would assume there's going to be teams interested in him moving forward this season. Whether the Knicks are willing to make a trade of Randle or not, I don't know, but I would assume that interest would be renewed if he can shoot the ball a little bit better and the Knicks are having some success.
Okay, so that brings a follow-up question, and another one that you just kind of perked. You don't have to say the team, but was it a West Coast team that was interested in him or an East Coast team?
Man, now we want to. We're trying to get.
I don't want you to get. Yeah, I don't want you to get.
You're not trying to get Ian in trouble.
I'm messing around. No, I'm just messing around. I could say it was a West Coast team. Yeah.
Okay. And if both Obi and Randle play well the first half of this season, let's say they're splitting minutes and Randle is doing what he did against Detroit on a regular basis, do you feel like if a first rounder, an unprotected first, is coming back, will the Knicks entertain a trade for him?
For Julius?
Yeah.
I just, based on everything over the last few years, I would say yes, but also I don't like what team. You're gonna have to also make the math work salary wise, right?
Yeah.
You can't. That the team that's acquiring him probably wouldn't be able to absorb him into their cap space.
Right. So they'd have to be somebody coming back. I think maybe an expiring deal with an unprotected first.
Right.
I think they would listen. I think they would listen because you drafted Obi Toppin, right? And
right.
They like Obi Toppin, and I think people over there, some people want to see where he can go with a bigger role. And you're not getting that bigger role with Julius Randle there unless you're making those decisions we talked about earlier. Not to say that this team can't win with Julius Randle being efficient and contributing to making winning plays. I don't think that's the case at all. But I'm just guessing. I would guess that they would at least entertain a conversation if a team said, "Hey, we've got a first-round pick for you. We want Julius." I think they would talk about it at least.
Okay.
So Ian, J. Ellis might have spoke too soon because I have a question that involves Donovan Mitchell by proxy.
Oh.
During those negotiations with Utah, when we were dealing with the devil incarnate, Danny Ainge, I felt like those 3 draft picks we got on draft night from OKC when we got rid of the 11th pick, those weren't really like a starter in those negotiations. It felt like Ainge was really focused in on Knicks picks specifically. What is the value around the league, and how are those 3 picks we got from OKC seen as trade assets? Because we did trade out of that position at number 11 to get them. Do they have worth around the league, and how does Leon in the front office really see using those moving forward?
I mean, I think they're heavily protected. When you look at, I don't have the protections in front of me, but you're not looking at like a top 5 pick. Like if one of those teams falls, Raiders, and goes, top 10, I think those are protected unless you're talking about Milwaukee. I think that's top 4 protected, but things would really have to go badly for Milwaukee to finish that highly in a draft. Excuse me. So those picks, yeah, I mean, every first round pick it has value, but those in particular, I think they're less valuable, at least as you alluded to with what Utah was thinking, because they were looking for those unprotected picks. The protections on those picks that the Knicks got, were middle of the pack to, you're going to get a mid first round pick to a late first round pick, which helps, but it's not a lottery pick.
When Leon was sitting down with Alan Hahn last week, he definitely mentioned that he's going to be on guard, prepared to make a trade if one presents itself that makes the franchise better moving forward. Do you have a prediction on what positionally or what player that might be? Does it feel like Brunson, RJ, and either Randle or Obi have those 3 positional spots locked up? And perhaps center or shooting guard might be the positions they fill moving forward. What other players does he have on the list that contained Jalen Brunson you took over and really wanted to keen in on?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm guessing, I think you hit it right. I think it is the center spot because Mitchell Robinson, a lot of teams had interest in him in free agency, and now he's signed to a 4-year deal, and it's a reasonable deal. So I could see teams kind of being interested in Mitchell, and I think also the shooting guard position. Obviously, they went hard after Donovan Mitchell, so certainly, I think there's excuse me. That would be another position. If you're looking to bring a star in, that would be a position that they would look for. Obviously, you look at the CAA ties, right? Because that's kind of what we've seen thus far in terms of them going heavily after players. You look at Karl Towns, Minnesota. I mean, let's see what happens there with Rudy Gobert and how that works. And I think, Devin Booker, people are always going to keep an eye on Devin Booker. Obviously, a CAA client. So, those are 2 names just based on their previous affiliation with Leon Rose and Leon Rose's firm that I would guess if we're talking about making a monster deal, those guys are there. Also, I would say this too. Philadelphia, look, if they play really well together, Harden and Embiid, and they, win a title, everybody's gonna be happy. If they fall short though, I just wonder, what does that look like going into this coming off season, I should say, going into next year. That's just another situation where if I'm running a team, I'm keeping an eye on that just to see which way the wind is blowing if things go sideways there.
Are you looking more Harden or Embiid on that?
Embiid.
Let's go.
Because
okay.
Of the connection,
Love that.
And, Leon Rose used to represent him, so
yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I think we ran through all of our questions. One last question for it. Where do you see this team? What's your win prediction, Ian?
I like that question. I like it. I think I would say 39 and play-in. And I think if you get there and one or two of the young guys takes a big jump and, you're giving these young guys minutes, I think that to me is a successful season. But also if you get to 39 and you're in the play-in tournament and you do it without playing all the young guys, but some of the young guys, but you also lean on your vets, I think that's the successful season because you would have won, more games than you did last year, and you're showing that you're going in the right direction. So, but I think, 39, like that neighborhood, I'm comfortable there for this club.
I'll take that answer. I'm in the 42 range, only because, Chicago went down with the Lonzo Ball thing. Charlotte's out the picture. And even the Nets, they were good, but there's still a weird asterisk on them. But for me, I feel like 42 is a good solid number. We have Jalen Brunson here to stabilize the ship. I felt like we were a 42 win team last season, really, but I just feel like the coach mismanaged a little bit of the minutes and it kind of cost us 5 wins. That's just me personally. But I think like you, like between RJ taking a step and Jalen Brunson here, we can definitely get to 42. And I think we'd be higher, but other teams in the East got better. So I have to kind of account for that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I think also like the idea that there's not huge expectations. I think sometimes with Knick teams, when the expectations are crazy high coming off the previous season, and then things start slowly, it's like a snowball effect with the fans and media, getting impatient, and that trickles down to the locker room sometimes. But there's not high expectations for this group. So I think that could benefit them.
Absolutely. All right. Yo, gunshots. If you know, we do gunshots here on the KOT show. Gunshots for Ian Begley, man. He's very graceful this time. This guy is very busy. So I'm very grateful to have Ian on. Man, always welcome back. You already know if you want to take some Knicks basketball, if you want to get more in depth with some Knicks talk, we're definitely down. So yeah, open invitation. If you want to come through the KOT show, man, thanks for coming through.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you. Great talking Knicks, and yeah, definitely look forward to doing it again. Let's see how things play out this season. Win, lose, or draw. I know you guys are going to be living and dying with every possession, and I respect that a lot. I respect the passion. And for fans like yourself, I don't root for the team because as a reporter, I have to stay objective. Fans like yourselves, though, I hope they are successful at some point because you guys deserve it. You've been through a lot.
Listen,
and I would like to see you guys root for a winner.
Let's go.
You are not lying, man. You are not lying. This is Ian, the man, the people. Gunshots for Ian left, man. Thanks for coming through. Enjoy the rest of your night. And man, Ian Begley, guys.
Right,
go right there.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot and take care.
All right, take care. All right. Let me get my guy Ryan back in here. I know Ryan is pissed. I'm sorry.
Is he like? Because I thought I saw Lee saying he was waiting.
Ryan is pissed. I'm sorry. Oh man. Gunshot. I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry, Ryan. If I let you back in, it would have messed up the whole. I'm sorry, Ryan. If I let you back in, it would have messed up the whole. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, mute your mic, Ryan. Mute your mic. It would have messed up the whole. Hold on. Yeah. All right, there we go. Yeah, Ian Begley's in the building.
Now Ryan's in the building.
Now Ryan G's in the building. I know. All right.
From Indiana.
I know Ryan. I gotta give Ryan a hug, man. I gotta give Ryan a hug, man. If you guys don't know, Ryan's computer shut down right before Ian came in. And it shut down right again during the interview. You gotta unmute your mic, Ryan. Unmute your mic. All right. Super chats gotta come in, man. We gotta get Ryan J a new computer, dog. It's time, man. All right. Ryan, you coming back. Come in, man. We gotta get Ryan J a new computer, dog. Turn off YouTube, Ryan. Turn off YouTube. All right. Ryan, you coming back. Come in, man. We gotta get Ryan J a new computer, dog. Turn off YouTube, Ryan. Turn off YouTube. All right. Okay, I had to mute you, Ryan. Ryan, once you turn off your YouTube, I'm mute. All right. I'm sorry. That's Shalon, who says a $2 super chat. He said, "Is Ryan G gonna choke a Knick fan?"
Oh, my man, Ryan G.
Oh God.
If there's one person that doesn't have to prove their fandom or their loyalty to the Knicks or the show, it is Ryan G.
It is Ryan G.
Tears put into
years
on KOT. Well beloved, well respected by all.
Absolutely.
Ryan G.
Absolutely.
Was with
Facts.
When KOT Inception happened. It was me, Ryan G, and Sean and Kathy. Ryan G is still rolling. 2016. Ryan, look, we're gonna have Ian back, man. We're gonna have Ian back. This is what happened. We're gonna have Ian back. You're gonna get in your computer, and you're gonna have like 20 questions. All right, you're gonna have like 20 questions. All right.
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I don't even know what to, like. I have no words right now. Like
I know he does.
I'll be tight too, dog.
Oh,
I'll be tight too. $2 super chat for picture Timmy. Laughing emojis, early picks. All right. Gene Marks, $5 super chat says, good show. $5 is a meager contribution to your new computer. Yeah. Shout out to you. Echelon says another $2 super chat. Says, this one is on me for Ryan. Go get a tall can.
oh my gosh.
A tall can.
Thanks for the subscribe, man. Thanks for the subscribe. All right. Move the subject. My man is tight. All right. All right. All right, guys. All right. What do you think of the interview, man? Anything stand out? I think that I'll start. Since okay, you got something, Roy?
No, I mean, to me, he gave us what I would expect him to give us. He doesn't speculate a lot, so he gave us good information overall, and is what I expected from Ian Begley. That's why I like him, man. He's not going to hype you with some, smoke stuff. He's going to come with the correct stuff for real, and I'm glad he did.
I like his level of humility. I think coming on a show, that's like us, that's made by fans, that's here talking that real analysis and understanding and passion for the game. He's the same person here as he is when he's interviewed on any of the SNY TV channels, and I really appreciate that level of humility and honesty that he brought in answering the questions. And you could really tell he was like thankful and gracious and here to have a conversation. He didn't try to rush and run away, but he was here to have a conversation with us. And there was a mutual level of respect there, which, man, you don't see that very often. Big ups to the third wise man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. He was treating us like we were the superstars, and he was
supremely humble. And thank you guys for the subscriptions, man. What I noticed anyway, something that I like actually, it seems like there is a little bit of pressure to play the young guys. That's what I got from the conversation. Let me know if you read that wrong. Because
I get that Tibbs is going to do his program. I think that this is the year he would have played them regardless of rumors. Because if you just look at his career, he favors vets, but they've moved the guys that he would favor, and the guys that are there are now in their third and fourth seasons. So, I think he would have started playing these guys anyway. It was good that they moved a couple of them to help him out, but I think he would have started playing these guys anyway.
Probably. But when Ian said that if he loses with the vets, that'll be an issue. But if he loses with the young guys, it wouldn't really be an issue. That statement to me kind of signified, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but to me that signified there might be a little bit of pressure to play more of the youth. Because when I looked at what's happening, Evan Fournier was in a lot of trade rumors. So the front office is already kind of telling you, this is what we prioritize. We want the youth. So if you again come the next season and only play vets, I feel like he knows he's going to be looked at kind of crazily. Like even Jericho Sims playing last season over Taj, I don't think that was a Tom Thibodeau call. I kind of feel like that was a shout out the World Wide West. I think that was a World Wide West call.
No, but you saw the fact that they let Taj walk. They traded not just Kemba Walker, but Alec Burke, who was probably his favorite player in last year. And then they let go of Oh, well, Kemba Walker, Alec Burks, Leon, Nerlens Noel.
Nerlens Noel.
They got rid of all of them. And so they really, I mean, when you think about it, there's really just, aside from Jalen Brunson, there's 3 vets that's on the team.
Yeah.
3 Tom Thibodeau style vets. And so he's going to have to play other guys, you know,
Right.
even if he gives those guys a ton of minutes, he's going to have to play other guys. So I think they'll be all right. I think it's going to be all right. They helped him out by moving those, especially Burks. They helped him out by moving Burks. So I think he's going to, you know, and then he pushed to get Grimes. So he's going to make sure Grimes can play.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. Grimes has a long road. But what thing is interesting, though, he said, is if a healthy Cam Reddish is not in the rotation and they're losing, there's going to be a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I asked that question about which one of the front office members was really, you know, pushing for the Cam Reddish trade, my gut told me it was Worldwide West.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear him confirm it. And when he did, that told me that there seems to be a connection between Wes, Leon Rose, and Scott Perry on the youth movement. I really feel like all 3 guys are for that, because if you remember Scott Perry, when Leon was in consultations to take over the team at the end of that season, he was still being, you know, consulted on whatever move was going to happen. And the move that got Steve Mills out was trading Marcus Morris. And that was a Scott Perry wanted Marcus Morris out for draft capital, which ended up turning Emmanuel Quickly the next season. So I think that triangle is probably the loudest voices in the room, and all 3 of those seem to be dedicated to the youth movement without pushing Thibs to do it. They're trading guys away to let them know, hey man, we're basically limiting you to 3 this time. So you know, kids.
Worldwide West has ties to Philly as well as New Jersey, and Cam is from Pennsylvania. And he spent time working out in Philly this year. I think that also plays a role with if and I'm saying I think Lee's hunch is correct in that I'm saying I could see him pushing, you know, cheering for Cam because he's got ties to him.
Yeah, he definitely has ties in Philly. And shout out to Scoop, because Scoop actually had like a whole
and Scoop brought that out.
Yeah, Scoop told us last time when Scoop B was on the show, he told us about Worldwide West's ties to Philadelphia for sure.
Yep. New Jersey and Philly.
Definitely check out that episode. But yeah, that part really stood out to me. And I also kind of feel like one of the reasons Leon might still be here, not Leon, Tibbs, is because that's kind of a signal that I could be next. You know? It's like if you fire Tibbs, then you have one more coach to get it right before you're gone. So you rather keep Tibbs and push him to play the youth and then hope he rights the ship. So, you know, your timeline won't start, because once you fire the coach, now the clock is on you now. You know what I mean? Because now you're kind of admitting that you messed up. That's what I think. That's what
there's a lot of dynamics going on here, but I'm not really, honestly, I think the Knicks are going to do better than what Ian suggested. And I think they'll be better. And I think that this will kind of be mute, because if they'll be playing well and he's going to play a mix of the young kids, and if he does that, you know, and they're playing well, I think all is good at MSG.
I agree. I agree. Salute to the chat. If you're liking this show, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. We go live after games. We break down games and talk Knicks. Me, Ryan, G, Raw when he can, Lee when he can. Here after every game, talking Knicks. So definitely, we're gonna be here tomorrow talking about the Knicks versus Pacers. So definitely come here and kick it with us. All right, we played the Pacers twice too. But shout out to Fritz. It sends a $5 super chat. It says leaving Ryan outside the club was cold. Should have gotten a wristband. Y'all still rubbing it in on Ryan. Let Ryan live, man. I already know my man is tight. He didn't say nothing in this whole segment. You know he okay.
It is what it is, man. I can take the joke, so that's all good.
Shout out to Echelon. He sends another $2. Who says, "We'll trade Fournier and Randle for Ryan's new CPU." Okay, more jokes. More jokes. Oh man.
It better be for a top of the line MacBook. That's all I gotta say.
That's all you gotta say, right?
It gotta be for a top of the the line MacBook. I'm not accepting nothing less for Julius Randle, Evan Fournier. Nothing less.
Top of the line Mac. Top of the line Mac.
Nothing
Word.
less. Oh man. And also, yo, if you want to call in too, you can call in and have your comments about the interview. You know the number right there. 319-527-6241. It's going to flash on the graphic right now. And Fritz put that in the chat. And we'll pin it at the top so people can see it. And if you want to call in, talk Knicks with us, you definitely can. All right. Meanwhile, hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for the people who subscribed already and contributed to the computer fund. All right, cool. All right. Let's get to the let's get to the talk. Let's get to the talk. So I kind of alluded to it with Ian about where do you feel like the Knicks will finish. Raw, Raw, what do you think the Knicks is going to finish this year?
I like 45 plus. I like 45.
45.
Plus. Yeah. And I was saying that before the Detroit game, but I think it more now because I'm just thinking one of the keys before this season was Julius Randle, and for a lot of reasons. And to me, it's not about the average of points and rebounds. It's just a lot of other things. And those other things were displayed very well against Detroit. And it's not because Detroit is going to struggle. It's because he could do those things, like he can decide to pass or move with the ball within 2 or 3 dribbles. He did that against Detroit. He could do that against anybody. He can hustle and rotate like he did against Detroit. He could do that against anybody. And then Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett are really the first 2 options, which leaves him one-on-one with guys that usually cannot guard him one-on-one. That could happen against anybody. So those type of things, and he had no turnovers. And so those type of things, I feel like he can do on a nightly basis. And if he does, I'm really confident the Knicks winning 45 games.
Ooh, okay. I like the optimism. I like that confidence.
You know what it is for me? Like, I love what Jalen Brunson brings, but like I said, the Cavs adding Donovan Mitchell is a big deal. I feel like Atlanta adding my guy from the Spurs is a big deal too. Like, there's gonna be matchups that kind of be tough for us, right? Toronto, even they kind of give us they always give us problems because they're just so athletic and long. Pause. Right, so it could get rough with some of these matchups. Yeah, Murray. Yeah, thank you, Jean. Like for me, the Knicks, they have a lot of X factors, right? When you have a lot of youth on your team, that means you have a lot of X factors. But X factors aren't guaranteed; they're X factors. But like for me, you have Cam, you have Quick, you have Deuce. You have RJ. If any of those guys hit and go to the next level, and Obi, then things can happen. But for me, a couple of things have to happen. One, the youth has to hit, right? Especially RJ. And 2, if the youth on the bench hits, Tibbs has to be smart enough to play them. And that's the other part. Because we all saw last season when Alec Burks was playing off of over Deuce and quickly. And we saw how Julius Randle was playing and Obi was balling and Randle still got the minutes. So stuff like that can happen if we're going to get to that 45 wins. You know what I mean?
I don't think it will. I think the first unit this year is better than the first unit last year. I think
that's true.
Just Jalen Brunson. So
absolutely,
the first unit is not going to be as bad, getting us in as many holes as they did last year. So I'm expecting better play there. And with the addition of Isaiah Hartenstein, I'm really seeing the Mobb Deep go to a new level. So that's why I'm very high on them. And I think they can get 45 wins. It's going to be, I think, really honestly, and I know I'm sounding optimistic, but I think this is going to be Tibbs' best coaching job in his 3 years with the Knicks right here, because they've helped him out by removing certain of his,
crutches.
Crutches, right. And so, if he leans on somebody, and I really fully expect at least 2 of these youth to pop this year, and the playing time they're going to get. So I'm very confident, in the 45 wins. And yes, everybody in the East got better. But one thing about the Knicks and about Tom Thibodeau, No matter how good you are, the Knicks always going to have a puncher's chance because of that defense. And I think they're going to return to the defensive glory they had 2 years ago.
Jay Ellis, get the gunshots ready.
Oh, he about to go out the window. He about to jump out of here. Here we go. What you got?
50 burger, man. I think the ceiling's a 50 burger. I think the floor is 40, 41. The ceiling is a 50 burger. And let me tell you why before y'all kick me off the chat.
We ain't going to do that, man. You on point, baby. You on point. We ain't going to do that.
I really believe that this team, more than any other Knicks iteration in the last 20 years since Delvin's taken over, the number one hole has been filled. Like, we needed Brunson. This roster, the way it's constructed, need a point guard like Brunson more than any other roster construction of the past 2 decades, and we got him. Brunson is an unbelievable pick and roll player. He's an efficient three-point shooter. Need to see more of those flamethrowers from the perimeter, but he's a heady, smart, cool as a cucumber, like point guard that's going to add stability to the position that's needed for damn near 20 years, man. This ain't no Charlie Ward, Howard Isley, Chris Childs. This is a guy who could be an all-star this season. And I think we'll be in contention for Most Improved Player of the Year award because he's going to go from 16 points per game to about 21, 22. And we're so deep. He, like I said in past podcasts, he is not coming here like Carmelo to an empty bench and bad rotations. He's coming here fortified by Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickley, and dare I say it, Deuce McBride. That four-guard rotation is elite in terms of the point guard position with a coach that runs his entire offense through the point guard and allows him to have freedom and control on the court, a la Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls. Thibs allows his point guards, when he trusts them, to really run the offense the way they see best fit and really find the best complementary pieces within those star units. And I think we finally see that, to Raw's point. This year, this is going to be the best coaching job, I agree, that Thibs has had since coming out of New York. And with this level of depth, every player is going to be unlocked. Julius, Obi, Mitch, Grimes, Fournier, RJ, Quickly. Playing alongside Jalen Brunson is going to unlock their potential because so many of them are not self-starters on offense. They need someone to get them going. 50 burger. Here we come.
The 50 burger.
Bring that. Bring more of that. Bring more of that.
I don't know if I can follow that up because this man said 50. This man said a half century. So I know my prediction is not going to be as great as that. It's not going to blow away people as great as that prediction was. But I think I'm a bit more on the reasonable side.
All right, G. Coming back. Oh, my God.
Did you just call him unreasonable? That's what I heard. I'm instigating right now.
So,
oh, my gosh, right?
I'm going to lead off by saying this. It is hard for me to make a prediction off of one preseason game against the Detroit Pistons. It's really hard for me to make that prediction. But I will say this. My prediction is 43-39 season. They're going to finish 7th in the East, and they're going to lock down a 7th seed and go into the playoffs as a 7th seed, and that's going to be my prediction. I think the X factor. I like
that. I mean, I like Lee's better, but
yeah, I like Lee's better too.
I like Lee's
better too. It's just that I don't know if I have the confidence to say the Knicks are going to win 50 games. I just don't know if I have that confidence.
To me, that's what Lee put them on the table and said, "This is it, baby."
Exactly.
He was bouncing them gonads off the table and said, "This is it."
Yeah.
Let's go.
Like that big domino, that big double six to end the game domino, slam it down on the table.
Yeah, but these are my reasons why I think they're going to go 43-39.
40.
The way I look at this Knicks team, I think the Knicks are deceptively deep. You know, like you look at the Knicks 10 players that they have, and that team, I think the Knicks are good from 1 to 10, literally. They have good players from 1 to 10, so I think that's going to help them out throughout the season. The only reason I don't have the Knicks higher is because I know how tough the East is. That's the only reason I don't have the Knicks higher, but I think 1 to 10, the Knicks are solid. An X factor for me this season is going to be Julius Randle. I feel like if Julius Randle can play anything like the Julius Randle he was during his All-Star year, that's going to help the Knicks out tremendously this season. And I also feel like another X factor for the Knicks is going to be Jalen Brunson as well.
Yeah.
because the Knicks haven't had a talent at point guard like Jalen Brunson for a while. And for a very long time, the Knicks have been struggling in the point guard position for a very long time. And bringing in somebody like Brunson is going to be a major help to the Knicks. And like Lee said, Thibs is a guy that loves running the offense to his point guard. So the fact that Knicks have Brunson, Rose, Quickly, all these guys are solid starters at point guard, I feel like this team is going to fly this season. They're going to be good on defense. So, 43-39, 7th seed in the East.
Yeah. I can see
Ryan G threaded the needle, man. I mean, you gotta respect that. He threaded the needle. I wouldn't be crying if the Knicks did that.
Me neither. Yeah, I said 42. I mean, I'm in the ballpark.
But I want to see the 50 though. I want to see the 50.
I want to see the 50.
I see a minimum of 45, but I could totally see Lee's prediction coming to pass. No question.
The way this team is constructed, we can handle 1 or 2 injuries.
Yeah.
Injuries, RJ Barrett. Okay, that's one thing. But a Fournier injury or a Mitch injury, because of the depth of his team, I think we can maintain the semblance of our chemistry and the run we're making. As long as we have Brunson, the offense won't change. That is key. He sits, Derrick Rose enters a game. What better 1-2 combo is there in the East? I mean, to me, that's brilliant. High IQ point guards that know Thibs' system.
That's right.
I agree. I agree with all those things. I just know the East is a beast right now, man. It's just
it is.
East is a beast. It's not going to be easy. But like I said, our team is so young. We pretty much have a team of X factors. Like anybody can literally be X factor on a team. You got Jalen Brunson, who came from Dallas, who was behind Luka Doncic, come here, has a chance to lead the team. He can start to put up all-star numbers theoretically and still not make the all-star game because the East is just that deep. But I can see him putting up 20 and 7 on the season on 50% shooting and not make the all-star team because the East is that deep right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I can
especially at point guard.
Exactly.
When you're talking about Trae Young, you're talking about Marcus Smart, you're talking about Kyrie Irving. There's a lot. There's and then Drew Holiday, all of them in the East, man. So, and then of course there's LaMelo Ball as well.
Right.
So you got a lot of dudes like, so like if some of those dudes really suck, but they can still get voted in. So their teams might suck, but they can still get voted in. So it's gonna be tough. But that doesn't matter. I mean, I hope he does make the All-Star team, but I'm just saying if we can get 50 wins, I am all in. All-Star.
Me too. Him, RJ can pop. OB, Randle, anybody, man. It can be anybody right now. But salute to the chat, man. Listen, I'm gonna take some calls right now. So callers, if you want to talk to the guy specifically, give me a second to like switch over the sound so you can hear them because I still have some kinks to work out. But first caller up, I know we got Edson from LI. What's going on, Edson?
Island.
What's up, guys? Terrific show. Nice to have Ian Begley. And a shout out to Raw Hebrew. You have a very fantastic title, with your words of wisdom and keeping it raw.
Go ahead. I don't want to respond.
All right.
Or no?
No. I was letting them finish. I appreciate that. Thanks for the love, brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm a big follower of your content when it comes, especially when it comes to Knicks, because this is a time period where everyone's got a phone, everyone's got access, it's got something to say. It's not really nothing new. It's always something that, that's just it's feeding off the hype. And it's something that I know that you've been around and just been saying, like, clear as daylight, saying, this is nothing new. Even with all this new technology, with all this new fan media, it is still the same thing,
That's right.
Yeah. I love how Raw here for that reason alone, man. Wealth of knowledge and taught me some things, honestly, to be honest. But you have any questions or comments about?
Usually me and JL are exactly like stride for stride. Usually.
What happened?
I said usually we are on the same page, like stride for stride. Usually, like we usually think alike.
Yeah, me and Raw do actually think alike on a lot of topics.
Yeah,
a lot of topics. But I study how Raw breaks things down personally because I feel like he breaks stuff down in like unique way. But But yo,
But let's get
Edson,
yeah, I'm gonna get down to business right here because I know it's been one season, the preseason, but this is something that's setting the tone with me. What's yet to come, and that is the team's efficiency on offense. I am confident with Jalen Brunson having a genuine quality for a solid point guard that signed with us is going to address that phenomenally. But that's going to be like a key word and something that's going to be in people's minds, even though they don't, it's not registered. But I could see that sort of a thing that will push us off to success, or it's going to be revisiting that and say, all right, here we are back again, stagnant offense. What happened? And everyone's going to look at Tibbs. And mostly the time when I see Tibbs is I think it's because of that his propensity to stay where things are comfortable. But this offseason, we're trying to save Tibbs from himself by, like you said, getting off the crutches, but also reminding him, like, listen, we got young assets. They're hungry. They're there. They're not like, raw cookie dough or something like that. They took their time in the oven. Use them. Trust them. And this is what the preseason is all about. Is Tibbs looking out, seeing who he can trust and make this and be comfortable with.
absolutely, absolutely. Yo, thanks for calling in, man. We'll address that what you just said, man. But yo, thanks for calling in again, man. Appreciate you. All right. So what do you think? What you guys think about what he said? He's talking about the flow of the offense, and he feels like that's going to be, a staying point for us to win some games. To me, I personally think it's the defensive end. I feel like our offense might. I don't know.
I may be wrong, but I'm taking it for granted that now that they don't have Kemba Walker starting, that every guard that they have as far as the point guards are not going to be a weakness on defense. And so I'm expecting the defense to return to what it was. The only weak link now in the starting lineup is Evan Fournier. And I don't think even with him as a weak link, it's going to be as bad as it was anywhere last year. And so
I agree.
That I'm taking for granted. Offensively, that's what I'm saying. With Julius Randle moving without the basketball, RJ, I believe, is poised to take a next step. But with Julius moving without the basketball like that, and RJ is the second option. Brunson has the ball in his hand, so I consider him the first option. But then RJ is the second option, and then with Julius moving without the ball, I just find to me that's so huge, man. If he can have the same, jovial attitude and not argue with the refs,
Right.
and let the guards handle the ball like he did against Detroit. Like I said, Detroit, I'm not talking about them as far as a good team, but just the things that Julius was doing in that game that he could do every game. If he could do that, we're going to be in good shape, man.
I think, you guys had mentioned who your X Factors is. For me, the X Factor is Tom Thibodeau.
That's
I
a
think
good one.
The coach releasing the demons that he has as on the sidelines and really trusting the young guys to finish runs and finish the game and not feel that damn necessity to put Fournier back in or Rose back in or, God forbid, Randall back in, to really lean off that and say, you know what, I'm going to live or die with this group of young guys I have out there right now. It might be Sims at the 5, and you might be up by 5 with a minute left. Keep that rotation out there and don't give in to your worst tendencies. To me, if Dibs can do that, man, the future is bright, because I think that would be a major turning point with what is the biggest roadblock to Thibs reaching that upper echelon of coaches that he has yet been able to do, because he always attaches himself to these veterans that let him down time and time again. They do the same old shit. I want less ISO plays, not just from Randall, but less ISO plays too from RJ Barrett, less ISO plays from Evan Fournier. They're obviously the ratio isn't nearly as high, but that's the way that Thibs has ran the offense for Alec Burks. Point guard is when you need a bucket, what else are we going to do? Dump the ball to whoever's hot right now. And I think Jalen Brunson will really curtail that. I just want to see Thibs have faith, man. Have faith and live and die and be okay if you lost, but you really gave it your all with a rotation that's promised future and potential.
Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to add one thing to what Lee was saying. So the Knicks offense, right? One of the reasons why I have the Knicks doing much better than they did last season was because Okay, so you remember last season with Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier in the backcourt, how the defense was just out of whack, and a lot of times the Knicks fell behind in first quarters, and the second unit had to come and bring the Knicks back into the game. So it was always like the Knicks had a mountain to climb
Right.
every game to try to get a win. I feel like with taking Kemba Walker out, Alex Burke out, and replacing with Jalen Brunson, not only do you have a point guard that's going to help the team score, but also he has better effort on defense as well. And you saw in that first game against the Pistons, even though it's a small sample size, with Jalen Brunson at point guard, the defense didn't look as bad as it did last season when Kemba Walker was at point guard.
Yeah.
Right.
So I fully expect this first unit to hang in games, meaning that when the second unit comes in, it's either that first unit is either gonna keep up with the other team and keep the game close, where it's like a tie or maybe a 1 point deficit or a 1 point lead, or they're gonna increase the lead early and then that second unit is gonna come in and then add more onto that lead. So I think that's gonna help out the Knicks as well. But I also agree with what Lee said too. It's gonna also depend a lot on Thibodeau, because last season we all know when it's late in games, even if the young guys are balling, Thibs has that, he has that issue where he has to put his bets back in no matter how the young guys are playing in the games. And I feel like if Thibs can just lean on the young guys more, if they're balling and he sees that it's the fourth quarter, 4 minutes left, they're holding the lead. I think if Thibs can just stick to those young guys and have them finish games, can you imagine if the Knicks have a winning record going into the playoffs, the amount of confidence those young guys will have? Because they see that their coach trusting them and believing them to close out games. I feel like the Knicks could be dangerous going into the playoffs. I mean, they're not going to go far because they don't have, the right team yet to make it that championship run. But they're gonna make it hell for whoever they face in the playoffs if Thibs can just stick to that and those young guys gain that confidence as the season goes on.
The irony is this is the deepest team that we've had in a very long time, right? Mm-hmm. So for the team to be this deep, our coach actually has to utilize our strength by not playing all our starters 30 plus minutes. It would behoove him to actually split the minutes up a little bit more, just because the style of play that Thibs demands is a style of play that taxes your body. So if you want them to cut all the time on the offensive end, play defense all the time on the defensive end, and then run every time you get a rebound, you can't sustain that for 30 minutes, 35 minutes at a high level. You're going to need a bench, and this is the deepest we've been. So Thibs has to lean into our strength this year, which is our depth, and hopefully he gets to do that. He does that. Real. All right.
Yeah. Thibs has to stop tibbing.
Thibs has to stop tibbing. Thibs be tibbing.
You gotta stop tibbing.
All right, yo, let me get to these calls, because I know they've been waiting and we've been cooking. I didn't want to stop the fire. I want to let y'all sizzle. But salute to Samir Sariano, who sends a fine super chat. Says Brunson's allowed you to play off the ball and is a great backup when RJ needs to spray the ball when driving. Salute, fellas. Yeah, RJ's jump shooting has been really good. That's one of my keys that I kind of talked about earlier. I felt like one of RJ or Julius Randle had to hit that wide open pull-up three, because Brunson is going to get to the lane. So we have to make teams pay. And so far, so good in that first preseason game. So hopefully we keep going with that type of a trend. All right. Next caller up. I'm sorry, I didn't see who's the next caller. We got Ron from Baltimore. Ron, what do you want to talk about, sir?
Great show. I've enjoyed listening to it. You do a tremendous job. So I first want to give you guys kudos. I appreciate what you do.
Appreciate it.
So what I want to talk about is a couple things. I think what I like about the team is last year I could only get Derrick Rose to push the pace for this team and move the ball off the floor quickly and play modern ball.
IQ too.
I don't need Derrick to do that. Like Derek can sit on the bike in the first couple preseason games. I don't have to rely on Derek. I know Derek is going to bail this team out in certain stretches because he's Derek Rose.
Yep.
But I need to save Derek. Brunson and IQ can both push the pace. IQ is learning that. Brunson has always been able to do that. That's number one. Number two, I like that we are stronger at certain positions. I think one of my things with Mitch was I wanted him to get stronger. He did that. I think IQ is stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I look at him. It looks like he's been in the weight room. My whole thing with IQ is this. Like, I love IQ. Yeah, he didn't shoot the ball great last year, but he's a big shot maker. What he needed to figure out how to do is because you have to add more to your game. You can't just float the ball. As good as a floater he has, you have to be able to finish around the rim with his skill set. If he adds that, he'll be so much harder to deal with. And you saw in that first game, he can finish a little bit better now. So if IQ can do that for us, if Mitch can add a little more, because Mitch, I love what Tip said. He's right. Mitch, to me, is the best offensive rebounder in basketball when he wants to be. So, like, if Mitch can just, we got to look for Mitch. We get, like, Brunson, once they figure it out, not just the alley-oops, but if we can get Mitch posting up to a little bit, learning how to just drop steps, use your body, because he's strong enough now. He's not going to get pushed around. So, like, I'm looking at Mitch like we paid you, we showed loyalty. You clearly have worked your butt off. You're healthy. I think Mitch is a very big thing for this club this whole year. We're going to have the great season we want. Yeah, there's a lot of, I love Brunson. I'm looking at Mitch. Like, I'm not forgetting about Mitch. But my question to you guys is this, because I agree with what you said, Jay Ellis, about splitting minutes. Totally agree. My question is this. Do you believe IQ and Grimes will get at least 20 minutes a night on this team?
Do I think IQ and Grimes will get 20 minutes? I think Grimes will definitely get 20. I can see both. Like, IQ, I mentioned this earlier. I'm not sure how long you've been here, but IQ led the team in fourth quarter minutes last year. So I feel like he's going to get his minutes. And Grimes' defense, to me, is going to force his way on the floor, provided that he's actually healthy, you know? Like, especially, look, I mentioned this before, too. Teams like the Cavs who have Darius Garland, very quick guard, and now they have Donovan Mitchell. Teams like the Hawks, right, who have Trae Young and Dante Murray, we're not going to be able to survive with Evan Fournier out there for long stretches of time. We're going to have to break that glass and get Grimes into the first unit. So for sure, I feel like Grimes is going to get more time provided that he's healthy. And I think the same for IQ, because IQ is in the circle of trust for Tibbs. So I think those guys are going to play.
Okay. Yeah, because my whole thing, and I'll let you go in a second. My whole thing is, I agree with you. We're deep now. Like, we don't need to tax all these. Like, look, yes, RJ, we know the key pieces. Brunson's going to get his 35. I get it. I get it all. But what I'm saying is we don't need to tax people. Like, Fournier, give him 20 to 25. Cool. Okay, I understand it. But, like, we have the ability now to do some cool things here. We can give a Grimes 20 plus. We can give an IQ a 20 plus.
Right.
The thing about Obi also that I wanted to say, Obi didn't make shots the other night, but one thing I'm looking for with Obi, even if he's not making the shots, I'll live with that because he took the right shot. He can rebound the ball now. Obi, like, early on, couldn't rebound the way I think he should be able to.
He's working on it.
I think Obi's a little strong. Like, Obi, to me, if he can rebound the ball, like, the one thing I'm looking with Obi, obviously we know he's dynamic. He's an explosive. Like, the energy he can provide, he can switch a game. That's why Obi has value. But, like, if Obi can, he had 3 assists the other night too. If he can rebound the ball, there's no reason Obi can't be productive. Like, my whole thing is, like, if Obi can rebound it at a level that I expect, like, I look at rebounding to me is very important, and we all know.
Gotcha.
Like, my whole thing, I get mad at Obi. I yell at the screen, Obi, get the rebound. You're better than me.
Right.
So, I don't know.
But
you gotta split the minutes up, man.
I agree with you. But yo, thanks for calling. I want to get to the next call. I want to get these guys' input, man. Salute to you, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, shout out to Ron. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
I think there's going to come a time this season. It's probably going to be around the 20-25 game mark. When injuries, nits and bruises catch up to the starting unit, that Hartenstein's going to start a game. Hartenstein, and I really think that his playmaking, the way he spaces the floor, is really going to bring a challenge for Mitchell Robinson.
Right.
And it's either going to put a fire under Robinson's ass to become a defensive force that we know he can be because of his potential and athleticism, or it's going to demand a real question by Thibs on which one to start. Because, man, Hartenstein's ability in a very, very small sample size, not just preseason, but watching Clipper games last year, the dude is a really high IQ passer and would bring that level of playmaking between him, Fournier, and Brunson in the starting unit could be really elite in terms of getting that ball moving and finding the right guy, which Thibs preaches every time there's an interview with him. He's always talking about finding the best shot and moving the ball. And, man, Hartenstein can really provide that if give it the chance.
If y'all ain't know, Lee's a Mitch hater, man. Don't you see how hard is he's gonna take? He don't like Mitch. He don't like
I want more. I want more than a dunk. I need more than a dunk.
Watch my man Mitch shock the world with his post moves. Watch this, like, You saw his post game. You saw his interview today. What he's talking about?
Yeah. Oh man.
The only one who crossovers, really.
Yo.
No, but he talked about having. And I saw it. He had people sealed 3 times down the floor.
Definitely.
The third time, they got him the basketball, but D Rose got him the ball, but it was 3 seconds. But he had ran down the floor and had his man sealed 2 other times. So and he mentioned that today, and he's like, "Yeah, I think we're gonna get it together. We're gonna get it together." Because they asked, "Did you talk to Brunson about that?" He said, "Yeah, we talked."
He's vocal now.
Yeah. So I think they're gonna find him more.
Yo. You guys be hating on Mitch, man. Watch when Mitch pulls out the God Sham God on people. Yeah, I'm gonna be loving the kid in like a month. Telling you, watch.
He gonna pull out the Sham God and do a pull up 3.
Facts. Oh, you saw what James Harden did the homie on the Cavs the other day? That's gonna be Mitch. Watch.
Made him have the stanky leg.
Yeah, do this thing. Yeah, all the way to the floor, yo. Ankle stay on the floor to this day. All right. Yo, next caller up. Hold up. I got gunshots for him. KOT Bet. Picks for Timmy. Let's go. Picks.
Yo, what's good, man? Yo,
we got man.
Full crew up there, man. We got my guy Rodney G. Man, we got the rookie of the year, Lee Echo in here, man. He hates on Mitch, but he dropped a big burger. We outside, bro.
We outside,
we got my guy Raw Hebrew Running, man. He out here with Raw. 5 kills, bro. Let's go.
Let's go.
Deal. We outside.
We outside, damn it.
Man, I'm hyped, yo. It was just a preseason game. It was just a scrimmage, but I'm hyped, man. Like I came in front. Like Lee put me up on your boy Hartenstein, man, and I'm not even gonna front. That spacing with that crew, with him and Obi out there, that is nasty. That's gonna be crazy. Obi could just literally just run all night. Like I'm concerned about Obi getting rebounds, but at the same time, if he's just gonna be just running like crazy out there, I'm cool with it. Just go. just take off. Go. And
that's what the money is. The money's in the rebounds for Obi, though. I'm letting you know. If he want to get paid, he needs to get some rebounds. But go ahead.
Hey, Leon got Obi under contract for the next 2 years. Like, I don't even think he even cares, bro. Like, Leon's just like, look, I'm out here making moves. I was already willing to go ahead and move you for Donovan. So watch your step, man. Rebound or peace out. Like, I mean, it's tough.
It is.
I know we don't want to hear that, but it is. Leon, he's a shark, bro. He's ready to move. And the defense, bro, like we're gonna see a return of a real Tom Thibodeau defense, man. Like what Mitch is gonna be able to do this year is gonna be crazy. You know, we had to worry about him covering 2 and 3 people for the past couple of years, and not having a point guard to really be able to open up anything for him offensively. Mitch hit a drop step during the scrimmage, and even though it was a 3-second. I'm still with it. Let's go.
I'm with it too. Like a couple more reps, he's gonna get that timing right, and we're gonna be fine. Man. He's gonna get the ball. You're gonna see a new Mitch. You're gonna see certain wrinkles add to his game. He just gotta stay healthy enough to add the wrinkles. You know what I mean? That's it.
Man, as long as Mitch can make it to the playoffs, And that's actually my question, y'all. Yeah. All right. So since we're dropping 50 burgers, man, apparently we might make it to the playoffs somehow, right? How do y'all feel about Julius Randle in the playoffs? Are we stacked enough to be able to get him in the right headspace to be effective in the playoffs, or is he going to go back to Julius Randle against Atlanta that doesn't even know what's going on, like can't find his way on the floor?
Good question. I'm gonna talk to you, my guys. I'm gonna talk to the guys. I'm asking that. But yo, shout out to Nick for picks for
Hey,
me, man. I'm glad you called in, man. Good to hear you. Yo, thanks for the timestamps, man. Helps a big lot. I'm telling you, I'll be doing so much. It'd be hard to
no
do
doubt, no
timestamps
doubt.
too.
Salute,
So
salute.
big help. So
We appreciate you, brother.
all right,
All right, take it easy, y'all. Later.
all right, later. So yeah, you heard this question, and we're gonna take one more call. We're gonna wrap it up because it's getting late. What do you think of Julius Randle in the playoffs? I already know what I think. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say.
I'll say this. Against Atlanta, the Knicks, we had Rose starting. Elfrid Payton started out the series, wasn't working out. Rose became the starter. We deferred to Julius Randle a lot in the playoffs because that was our main weapon. He was the all-star. He was the all-NBA player. So we deferred to him a lot in the playoffs. I think the composition of this team is different than the one we had a couple seasons ago. Julius Randle is not the sole guy that we're dependent on for offense this season.
Yep.
We have Jalen Brunson who can provide offense. RJ Barrett has grown as a player. He can provide offense as well. So there's not as much pressure on Julius Randle to carry the offense like a couple seasons ago when the Knicks made the playoffs, surprisingly. So I don't think we're going to get the same Julius Randle in the playoffs this season like we did a couple seasons ago. I feel like he's going to be in a better headspace where he feels like the pressure's just not all on him to score. And you have Jalen Brunson here that's going to put him in the right spots to where he can be productive. So
Yep.
I feel like if the Knicks do make the playoffs this year, which I fully expect, it's going to be a different Julius Randle this time around.
Yeah, I agree. It's a couple of things. We didn't have Mitchell Robinson, which I think would have made a difference against Capella.
Absolutely.
And then we didn't have a point guard really. So you add a point guard, you have RJ now. That's 3 years now. 3 years later. And then so Julius is not going to have to carry the Knicks like he did that season. So, and I think he would be more effective because, like I said, they gotta watch RJ, they gotta watch Brunson, they're gonna have to watch Grimes or even Fournier. Mitchell Robinson's going to be a force on the offensive rebounds against Capella this time. So I think we would beat them if there was the same team. But now they got DeJounte, so it's going to be interesting. But in the playoffs, Julius Randle will be a lot better this time.
Yeah, I agree with both points. I really agree with the points that Ryan made. I think that series was as much of a Tibbs failure as it was a Randle failure. I think that the way he handled the point guard situation with Elfrid Payton, I think that if he was going to start Rose should have started from game one. But that gradual combustion of Elfrid Payton being phased out of the rotation completely and making Rose play over 30 minutes a game. I mean, RJ's shot wasn't falling. Rose is basically just drive to the paint every single possession. He had nothing from Nerlens Noel, who played a total bum. Bullock's shot was off from three. So Randle, after about game two, started to bring the ball up himself. He had so much like on-ball Randle playing the point forward, and that will not be the case this year. It still worries me because Randle's mental game just seems like wheat sauce. I think we all see that. But if the ball's in his hands less, and he's catching it in the positions where he's most effective, which I think Brunson can do, I'm less worried about the role that he has in winning a first-round series than I did 2 years ago.
Yeah, nah, I agree. Jalen Brunson just dismantled the Utah Jazz, all right? Single-handedly. Took them down, caused Danny Ainge to trade everybody. So we have that guy on our team. So that helps a good amount of times, all right? So we have that going for us. The second thing, though, was the second command. I would hope that RJ Barrett starts to mature and he starts to take the reins some and he starts to become like the clear two punch or one punch, depending on the thing. Like, I want Jalen Brunson, RJ, Jalen Brunson, flipping between those two guys. And then if Julius has it going, Julius is getting fed the ball when he's going downhill, then we go to Julius, then maybe you can ice a little bit. Pretty much what we saw in that Detroit game, that's what I would like to see. And if we do that, I think we should fare a little bit better. But at the same time, I do feel like our coach is not imaginative on offense, and I'm scared of that. Like, we're going to have to purely go on read and react. So we're going to have to out-talent them, man. So it'll be rough, but we should fare better just because of our personnel. Pretty much.
Right. I agree. That's right.
All right. Last caller up. We'll talk to Fritz, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's going on, Fritz?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just want to talk about a couple things. Like Lee said, this year is health as well. We got a deep team. We need to use the team. I'm going with 45. I'm not quite with 50 yet, but I think there's two things that have to be worried about this year. Is the itchy trigger finger before trade. Make up for what happened this year, this off season. Need to wait for the right trade, not the fast trade.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing we need to worry about is you've got new members, new identity. This is new competition. Oh, it was always starters versus bench. So it's new guys versus the old guys. Now they're going against each other. Is it still going to be fun for the team? Are they still going to be engaged? Are they going to still have fun with each other? Is it going to be the same type of thing?
If we win, we're going to have
those
fun.
Are two things that work. Yeah, if they win, it's going to have fun. But if they're not winning and you ain't got your minutes and contact time is coming, is it still fun? So that's the only two things I worry about. But I look forward to a long season. You guys need to, check in after every game. We'll be here and keep calling it.
All right. Yo, salute to the mind, best mind in the game. Fritz Alessandro has spoken. All right. All right. That was our show. Ian Begley on this show, man. Big deal.
Ian Begley was here.
Big man was
it's-
on.
The
Big deal.
hurricane came through and didn't do no damage.
Didn't do no.
The hurricane did damage to my computer, though. I'll say that much.
Oh yeah.
Let's get Ryan. What is that? He said the Apple notebook.
Yeah, bruh. Yeah, bruh to your computer, Ryan.
Yeah.
Bruh to your
Let me
computer.
down heavily tonight, man.
No, Ryan's gonna put the 9mm to that computer.
Right? On some KRS, man. My 9mm. Hip hop heads know what I'm talking about. Hip hop heads know what I'm talking about. The 9mm. Go bang.
9mm. His name was Peter. Had to fuck him down with my 9mm.
Hey, get it wrong.
Say I had this girl. I said I wanted you stupid.
Bullet.
Yes.
He tried to call me out, and KRS-One knew it.
Yeah.
That was like 88.
Yo, man. It's funny because I was like 6. I know what's going.
I was a grown man then. I think I was 27.
I found out about that later, man. But KRS is still a gold.
Dealer named Peter. I had to walk him down with my 9mm.
Yes, raw Hebrew with the 9mm. Come on, let's go.
Let's go.
KRS-One, baby. BDP.
Oh man, I love you guys.
That's my crew right there, BDP, man. Shoot.
Yeah, man. Which I know. All right, old man talk right now. All right.
Yeah, for real. The Geritol.
Exactly. Yo, Jay Boogie. Shout out to Jay Boogie. He sends a $10 super chat. Says, shout out to the chat and the panel. Home opening will be shooting a video at the game. Please pull up. Word? Oh man. At the home opener? The biggest.
For the
KLT will have the track. Salute, 3 capital S's. Yo, man.
What?
The home opener? Dag. I'm not even sure I can make them.
So when is the home opener? It's a Friday night, I think.
The 19th. Who got? Somebody got to do the show. I got to do the show. Jay.
No, because so the season opener is the 19th against.
What time, Jay Boogie Hill? Hit me up later, Jay Boogie. I don't know.
The
Maybe I
home
can do
opener
both
is
for now.
Friday. It's against Detroit. Friday, 7:30.
Oh, it's the Pistons.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yo, salute Echelon says a $2 super chat. Says get Shams and Woes so you can drive someone mad. Oh yeah. If I get Woj and Shams, listen.
You get Woj, you big time.
I'm big
Shoot, yo.
time. I'm big time.
You get Wojnarowski up in this piece, you big time.
Yeah. Yo, shout out to Jay Bookie because Obi retweeted his Obi song. So shout out to Jay Boogie, man. Making move out here.
All right. Jay Boogie doing work.
All right. Everybody doing work. All right. Let's wrap it up. All right. Okay, yo, Lee, let them know where they can find you, sir.
With the hop on this pulpit real quick. I'm finally on Twitter.
Yes.
@_Lee
Get 'em.
Escobedo @_LEEESCOBEDO. You can find my writing in Deadspin and Posted and Toasting. I had one post, one of my articles yesterday on Deadspin about Russell Westbrook, possibly doing on the Mavs, what that would look like, why they should do it. I want to give a shout out though, man. I know Ryan couldn't join us in the meeting, but I wanted to be on this podcast because of Ryan. I model my approach on Ryan. I love how heady and intellectual the man is. He has the best takes, and I'm very proud to be on a panel with my boy Ryan G.
Let's
Shout
go.
out,
Ryan G is in the building.
And you know what? Y'all have no idea how hard Jay Ellis worked to get this interview done.
Oh, I know he had to work hard to get this
Man,
done.
he did a masterful job leading the conversation. Also, shout out. I'm going to do some shout outs right now. Shout out Jay Ellis for how hard he worked. Bro. Hardest working man in the business, runs an unbelievable podcast. And, bro, Raw, Hebrew, you saved my moment today, man. I've been dealing with some personal stuff. Life's been stressful lately, and your blessings and your Patreon is one of the best things I did this week. Please go subscribe to my man's Patreon.
Facts.
He not only drops knowledge on the Knicks, he really drops knowledge on life. Get your soul working right in the morning, man. I appreciate you, brother. You really got me.
Appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yo, y'all don't really know how much I appreciate all these guys, man. All these guys on the show bring something special, unique, and I love doing the show with them, man. Like, seriously, man. I love these guys for real. All right, man. Yo, Ryan G, Yo, Ryan, we're going to have Ian back, man. We're going to have Ian back.
Got to.
And by that time, I have a new Max. So, yeah.
Yeah. Get some questions off. Let her know where he can find you, sir.
You can find me on Instagram at Sir G is chilling.
Sir G is chilling.
That's SIRG is CHILLIN. You can also find me at Sir G's Corner on IG. Content's coming soon. And you can also find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. And I just want to say some shout outs right quick because Lee got me in the love mood. So I'm going to spread some love myself.
Oh.
First and foremost, Lee, he's definitely been a great addition to the podcast. I love that dude's knowledge. He definitely speaks a good word. So, and he also writes some great articles as well. Raw, always like Raw's perspectives on things. Again, another knowledgeable brother. So I definitely appreciate Raw being on the podcast as well. And of course, Jay Ellis, we was riding on this thing since it first came to life.
Listen.
And, people really got to realize, this dude, Jay Ellis, put in work for this podcast. And, I really appreciate my guy as well. So
appreciate it.
That's my love right there.
Yo,
Jay Ellis, the man.
I still have things in the tuck. I'm just trying to get these things out. It's just, woof. Y'all don't even know what I was planning. Y'all don't even know I was planning. This stuff just keeps happening. But I'm going to keep going because that's what I do.
That's right.
All right?
Keep going, baby.
That's what I do. I don't stop. A little bit crazy. Just a little bit. All right. Yo, thanks to you guys, man. Listen, man. Listen. You already know what it is. Go to the Knick of Time Show on Twitter, Knick of Time Show on Instagram, and Knick of Time Show on Facebook. Follow us there. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, everywhere you can listen to podcasts. Get our KLT snapbacks too at nicktimeshow.com/catalog. Just go to nicktimeshow.com and click that button at the top. It says catalog. You get your snapback. You already see. Everybody's rocking that. And yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. Knicks Pacers and breaking that game down also. But yeah, whoever's with me, I know I'll be here. I'm not sure who's available, but KLT will be here in some capacity. All right. That is our show. And yo, shout out to I even shout out the chat the whole time. Shout out to Craig Ward, Priscilla Sindor, Echelon, Joe Long, Mansa Dushan, NYK, Joe Long, Winston Ellis, my real fake cousin. Shout out to you, Bilal Malik. Man, anybody? Vol Outlaw, Jay Boogie, everybody else. All right. Be civilized, everybody. And as always,
shout out the worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
Wait, what'd you say?
You forget about Raw, man.
Nah, it's all good.
Oh my gosh, Raw. My bad.
I know what it's like, man. When you gotta go, you gotta go. I got it. It's all good.
Look at that, Raw. Do your thing.
All right, Raw Hebrew Remnant on Twitter, Raw Hebrew Remnant on Patreon, Raw Hebrew Remnant on YouTube. You know what it is. Working with these guys are great, man. Lee, we're watching Lee, right? We're catching Lee. He's the next coming of Ian. See what I'm saying? We catching him in the early. You can say we knew you win, bro. We knew you win. He's early Ian. We catch him. We knew you win. And then of course, Ryan G. Don't sleep on Ryan G. is chilling because Ryan G. is in the building. It was just, the devil trying to mess with him from coming on here and enhancing our show today.
Facts.
But we'll have to bring him back. And of course, Jay Ellis, the creative one. They could steal from you, but it's all right. You got a lot of more because coming back. So
low key, I influenced a lot of people. I'm not going to tell you, but
yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
I got more. Always got more.
There's more. See, everybody got it. When they steal, and they can't get no more. But you got a well, so the well come back.
The well is plentiful, but appreciate you all the kind words. All right, now that is our show, and as always,
shout out the worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks YouTube streets. That is our show. We out of here.
Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.